Well, environmental psychology, at the one hand, studies how environmental conditions influence our well-being and behavior, like we get happy in nature, but also the design of some products might influence how we, whether we purchase it, but also how we deal with it. And on the other hand, the environmental psychologists study how people affect environmental quality, but more specifically, what motivates people to act pro-environmentally and how we can encourage pro-environmental actions in a way that is also acceptable to people. I research a lot of different things with my colleagues, always with a group of colleagues. So, for example, we study how environmental factors influence our well-being, but also influences the choices that we make. And we do a lot of research on which factors influence all kinds of environmental behavior, which strategies might be effective and acceptable to promote pro-environmental actions, and we also look at the acceptability of different future strategies. And in doing so, we're particularly interested in the role of intrinsic motivation. So what motivates people to act pro-environmentally, and with a focus on that doing so might make them feel good, that they enjoy contributing to the greater group. And in our research, we focus on many different topics. So we apply similar theories on different topics like electric vehicle adoption or the use of smart grids, and it might also be recycling behavior or waste handling behavior. Yeah, what is important, I'm particularly interested in the role of values, so and then mostly in biospheric values or environmental values. And I'm interested in how they affect behavior and also under which conditions they are more likely to affect behavior. And we propose and found that these values are more predictive of behavior when there are all kinds of cues in the environment that these support these values or activate these values, so that people are aware of environmental consequences of their choices and feel able to take these into consideration. We have been collaborating with practitioners for a long time, and I had a very rewarding experience lately. We, together with some other professors of environmental psychology, we helped writing a report on how to make better use of behavioral knowledge in environmental policy making. And besides only writing a report, making accessible the rich knowledge we already have, we also helped developing a game so that policymakers were challenged to consider behavior aspects of their policies. And that was very well received and was very rewarding to contribute to this. The interest in environmental psychology is growing, and a lot of policymakers now realize that environmental problems are behavioral problems and that they need knowledge accumulated in psychology, sociology, anthropology to really be able to manage these issues. So yeah, you see it widely. Also journals are more interested in this type of research. But for example, I collaborate with energy companies, and some of them hire the young potentials that have a background in environmental psychology, that are trained towards the specific topics in their organizations and then hired by that in their organization. But you can also imagine that people go to work for NGOs that, for example, develop environmental campaigns or information programs. What I find interesting is so many people do really care about the environment. They're motivated to act pro-environmental, but they don't do it in many cases, even though they do find it important. They do so in many cases, by the way, as well, but there are some circumstances where they don't act upon the things that they find important. And I think it's important to see what are the main barriers there, so that you can encourage environmental actions. And in doing so, you should not only focus on one action, but it's important to see how that might spill over to different topics. And another important topic is that the current energy system is probably changing, will change a lot in the near future, because we will more strongly rely on renewables. All kinds of engineers and natural scientists are thinking about how this system might look like. And I think it's key that environmental psychologists are also being consulted or collaborate with these people to develop energy systems that are also accepted by people and used by them in the proper way. What I find particularly important for environmental psychologists is that they try to focus on theories and on applications, and not on only one of them. Because I think we can really make an impact, but more so if we do theoretically sound research that also brings science further, but at the same time, all the time consider the practical implications of your research. And finding a balance between these two is one of the things I like very much, but I think we can also have a much higher impact in the field or in society if we more strongly would emphasize that.